So, welcome, Mr. Subramanian, also known as shortly, fondly, Mr. Subra. Welcome to this show.
Thank you, Mr. Anand.
Thank you. Viewers, Mr. Subramanian is a chartered accountant, a very renowned financial expert in the southern India and also outside India. So he's been a globe trotter. He has been served various multinational organizations in the last 2 decades plus, and from the scratch to a large enterprises is what he built in many organizations wherever he worked in his career. So let's have a very informal conversation with Mr. Subra. Subra, welcome to this show.
Thanks, Anand. Yeah.
So it's basically, as we discussed, this is mainly meant for MSMEs and startup ventures and people who aspire to become an entrepreneur, and people who are already made some mark in the entrepreneurial journey also will be part of this watching fraternity of the series of shows which we host. As you know, like we have been from Sea Change talking to several of the successful leaders, business leaders, professionals like you in many forums. But essentially, this chat session, what both of us are going to have continuously, maybe for some time, is about how to really support and serve and bring certain information to MSME entrepreneurs, especially startup ventures. So with that, I thought I will first kickstart with the first conversation question is about your recent activity, which I see in television channels, especially the Podigai PD, where you talk about the Atmanirbhar Bharat, where you talk about Make in India, Startup India, all these initiatives of Government of India at this point in time. So can you please share your thoughts on those areas?
Definitely. So first of all, thanks for the nice introduction, Anand. So I started my career actually in the MSME industry. Okay. So 94 when I came out of my chartered accountancy. So I just had another extended training of 1 year. And 96, exactly, November 96, I started as a finance manager in a manufacturing company in Gumudi-Punti.
Okay.
Okay. So I was a finance manager for the company. So my journey started as a MSME finance manager. That's why maybe I got an attachment to the MSME fraternity. You can call it. I was there for about 3-4 years, then understood what are all the financial difficulties the industry was facing it. Okay, when you approach the banker, so you may not get the bank loan directly granted, because MSME when you start, you may not be having the asset base for you, because normal engineering graduate or who has finished his PG and all, so they want to start a industry and serve to the society. So you may not have the backup of money or assets, whatever. Normally, generally, the big entrepreneurs may have.
Correct.
So if you see in those times, okay, the government has had SSI, small scale industries. There was a branch in Statepad by State Bank of India for SSI units. So we have borrowed some money from that branch. So we had a lot of difficulties in convincing them about our business plan. Though we have a good market and all. So those things were actually registered in my mind. Then I moved on to next assignment in various MNCs. Okay, close to about more than 25 years. I spent my career as a senior management in the finance domain across all the MNC companies. So recently, if we start, if the MSME, if you know that for the Atmanirbhar Bharat,
yes.
Okay, the finance minister, she announced 3 lakh crore fiscal initiatives mainly for MSMEs. If you see the first announcement came, they mentioned it is only for MSMEs.
Correct.
So that means, see, actually, if you see, MSMEs are contributing about 30% of GDP of India.
Correct.
That's astonishing fact. Okay. And it contributes about 48% of exports.
Correct.
These are statistics. Okay. I was astonished when I was going through this presentation and all. And they have been employing about 11 crore workers in MSME. MSME gives 11 crore employment, which is about close to 10% of your population. India's population is, let's say, 135 crores. So they are giving 11 crore employment. Leaving alone that 50-60% is catered by the agricultural workforce. The balance, if we see about 50-60 crores, out of that, 11 is coming from MSME. So you can see the significant contribution by the MSME. If you see for the big entrepreneurs, okay, there may be strong push internally and externally to run the business in terms of funding, in terms of other resources. But these guys having a good mind and heart to run the business and to serve the society. So I see there's a big gap in that. So I thought now, after spent about close to 30 years of experience, why can't I add value to those MSME clients?
Okay.
That's how my journey started about a year back. So I was just going through some data history, data points, and all those things. So I was just trying. That's how now I got interacted with our DD Podigai friends and all. They said, why can't we have a program and why can't we have a Atmanirbhar Bharat? That's how the post-COVID, the sense post-lockdown, Madam has announced the fiscal initiatives for MSME. So I thought, why can't I participate in the program and take and explain the benefits to the MSME entrepreneurs? That's how the journey started.
Absolutely. That's wonderful, really. It's a phenomenal. See, Subra, we used to discuss a lot about how to really add value to the MSMEs at the ground. Because there are many people who talk from various forums at the 35,000 feet. But when it comes to ground reality, it's something completely different because there are so many challenges also, It's not that always they have a red carpet welcome everywhere, wherever they go. There are a lot of hardships, there are a lot of challenges they undergo. In fact, I just thought of sharing some insights to the viewers also as part of our conversation.
I saw that you have been a strategy business advisor for the MSME sector. So I want to also listen from you. So what kind of strategy you have been advising them?
Correct. Like Subra, as you know, almost about 18 plus years, SeaChange exists in this marketplace. And normally we say, big four, there are large organization, consulting organization, do consulting for large enterprises, like Reliance and, all these big organizations, Tatas and all that. But who will do for MSMEs? And the big four may not really come down to MSMEs level because their establishment, their investments, their manpower expenditures are very, very big. So there are absolutely a void, what we call institutional void actually in the marketplace where nobody is really there other than auditors like you, people who are qualified professionals like you, who will be able to handle the finance and the working capital and bank related requirements of the MSMEs. But holistically, what we call C360, 360-degree approach for MSMEs are really need of the hour. Right from HR, IT, information technology, the current digital transformation, and then risk management, leadership, recruitment, right candidates at the right place, training them. All these areas are actually a huge void. And unfortunately, what happens is the experts who are in the marketplace are operating like silos because each one is an expert in one area only. So every time MSME have to tie up with one particular expert for each of the services, which means if they want 5-6 services, they have to talk to 5-6 people, right? So that's where SeaChange actually was born. The niche what we identified, like let us unify everybody and integrate it as a single consortium and present it to the MSME market. So today we have,
will be in your platform.
Yes, today we have more than 100 plus experts who are part of our panel consortium, like yourself. Each one is an stalwart, 20 years, 30 years in the industry, but we will be able to present as a single face, take single responsibility, accountability, and execute the projects of the MSMEs and guide them properly. So this is what in a nutshell we do. But the interesting insight, what I thought of sharing it here in our conversation is about the unicorn organizations. Many people at the MSME level probably may not know there is something which is happening very fascinating in the industry worldwide. It's something called unicorn. Unicorn organization, as they say. The word unicorn, if you really look at it in the etymology point of view, it's actually came from a magical word. It's a magical creature or mythical creature. But whereas now this has been used for business. In fact, there was a person just to share an insight with you, how this unicorn name has been formed. First of all, what is unicorn? Unicorn is all about a company which is a startup, which is being the valuation is done for $1 billion, $1 billion US dollar. Is called unicorn. A unicorn is a term used in the venture capital industry to describe a privately held startup company with a value of over 1 billion US dollars. The term was first popularized by venture capitalist Eileen Lee, founder of Cowboy VC, a stage venture capital fund based in Palo Alto, California. From here only, this man has been, created this concept and became popular today. There are 500 plus unicorn companies in the world today, and China is number one in position in terms of having more than 200 unicorn organizations. Each of them have been, valued 1 billion US dollars. And to cite few names for the viewers' advantage, SpaceX is $46 billion organization, Elon Musk. Byju's of India, $12 billion unicorn organization. OYO is 7.7 billion organization. Ola Caps is 6.3 billion US dollar organization. Some of the organization I'm listing from India, and Zomato, Swiggy, Freshworks. These organizations are actually unicorn organizations, which means each of them has started as a startup. Today, valued more than $1 billion valuation. And why I'm sharing this information is to share additional inputs. There are 500 unicorn organizations, all started maybe a decade ago, maybe 15 years ago. Some of them have started only a couple of years back. So anybody who has got excellent idea, bright idea, they, to make a difference, to make a compelling difference to the society, and serve millions of people in the marketplace in solving their problems using technology. So they will be definitely respected and valued like a unicorn. And additional input to you before we move on to the next segment. As I told you, 500 organizations are unicorn organizations. Each of them $1 billion valuation. But there are organizations who are more than $1 billion, which means 10 billion, for example. They are called Decacorn. Anybody who is valued more than 10 billion USD, they are called Decacorn. And people who are valued more than 100 billion are called Hectocorn. So this is how the industry is now terming them and growing. So point here, what I'm trying to make here is MSMEs, back to India, back to ground reality, is that if you have an excellent, bright idea, which can solve millions of problems, millions of people problem of millions of people, per se, you can actually make your organization $1 billion valuation. It is quite possible. At this point in time, you might be thinking, I am already doing only 1 crore or maybe 5 crore. I'm already facing so many issues. Already I invested 10 years of my life in the business venture, but I don't see any, I know the light at the end of the tunnel or whatever they say. But I'm telling you, my dear friends, if you have a proper strategy, if you have proper people around you, and people, financial experts like Mr. Subra around you, like him, there are so many experts, I'm sure you can make a difference in your venture and make your dream come true. After all, people start business for creating something bigger in life, something larger in the purpose. So that's what I thought I'd share it with you, Subra. With respect,
I think I can just add, see, whoever is the, who's of India, business houses in India, they would have started their life as an MSME.
Correct.
Reliance, even Tata, whomever it, Birla, whoever it is. Okay, they would have started their life with a few thousands of investment.
Correct.
Over their efforts, over the years, I think they have gone big.
Absolutely.
Okay, so I think MSME is the starting point, I think.
Correct. See here, we will move on to inspiring them on these information is one side, which is anyway available in Google and they can always check out on YouTube. But how do we step up one step closer to them and handhold them like buddy and show them the real path and track? With respect to that, I want to just ask you a question like, how do you look at this Make in India or Startup India or Digital India? So we are talking something very, very big for the future to come.
Big.
But,
Yes.
but there are a lot of criticism also there. I mean, let's not just blindfoldedly speak. There are a lot of criticism, like everything is only in the paper, everything is only in the policy level, so nothing is on reality. So how do you look at all these perspectives?
Yeah. When we engage the consultant, actually, or when we engage ourselves with any clients, okay, we call ourselves as a virtual partner with them. Okay, we are not a partner in the books in a statutory angle. Okay, we call ourselves as a virtual partner. Okay, so that means we are there from the day zero or even -1. Okay, so we have a verticals which can support from identifying the or preparing the business plan. So that's why we'll have to engage with the consultant. Okay, so we'll have to prepare a business plan for the MSME and identifying the wherever the resources are. If it is a land, we'll have to identify and go and identify and get them the good piece of land where the proximity is there in terms of logistics. Okay, and that we have got an executive search vertical. Okay, we'll be involved in them and identifying the top management, which is very, very critical when you're launching a green field. Okay, the person who is going to head the operation or person who is going to head the construction, okay, is a very key positions. Okay, so we identify, hunt for them and give them the good positions, top management. Then we are part of their operations also. Okay, though we are from the finance vertical, so we know we have interacted with many clients. So we know the operation challenges, what are all the problems they are facing in terms of performance, in terms of leakages of revenue or leakage or excess expenses. So we know by experience. Okay, we tell them that okay, no, this is not the correct plan. Okay, so maybe you'll have to plan little conservatively here. You can go a little aggressive here in terms of business plan. So we give them the kind of 5-year business plan. We construct them give them the 5-year business plan, and we have periodical review of quarterly 5-year business plan review. Okay, once you're preparing the business plan, you know the market in which you are in. So what is the capacity of the market? What is the capacity of the organization in which you are working? Okay, if the headroom, so can I go and ask for extra money from the banker, not to improve my capacity? Okay, if there is enough capacity in me, so why can't I go and hunt for the customers? So like that, we'll prepare a holistic business plan, and the entire top management team, along with the virtual partner, will work as one single company. There will not be any information. All information will be known to everyone. Everyone. So even an operations guy will know finance, finance guy will know operations.
Correct.
So like that, we'll have to construct a team, cohesive team. I think if you build that team, I think the MSME will lead to the success like anything. Okay, coming back to your question, okay, on the how a lot of initiatives have been announced by Prime Minister, Finance Minister, Startup India, Make in India, and Atmanirbhar Bharat, all those things. How it has reached the customers, the end user. I can quote example from my real-time life example. See, Atmanirbhar Bharat, they announced 3 lakh crores as a fiscal initiatives to all the MSME industries. They said up to September is a target date. Whoever is willing to avail that benefit, so who had the loan outstanding as of 28th February 2020, so you can borrow up to 20% of that. They're given the date of September. Okay, but they are not able to succeed in that. In the sense, there are no takers. Okay, MSME is already in the red. Okay, they are going to borrow. How are they going to repay? So really, there are no takers at all. Then government has actually given the target to all the banks. Okay, as you know, in the corporate, we give the target to all the marketing executives or the operation executives to complete your targets by month end or by year end. Like that, I think the finance ministry has given the target to all the banking institutions and to disperse the money by 30th September.
Okay.
So they worked on day and night and worked with the clients, ensured that money has reached the bank account of that particular client. On 30th September, they are given the mandate. Okay, the sanction letter has been released and the money has been dispersed. So they have ensured that the last mile has reached.
Wonderful.
So that's how they monitor and the benefits are reached to the beneficiaries.
Mm.
And okay, so what they've done is in this, especially the MSME scheme now, recent scheme now, is that you can take a 1-year moratorium. Okay, don't need. They know that there is going to be issue in recovering your market. Okay,
Yeah.
they know because after July, August, the market started little picking up.
Correct.
So maybe everybody is after this festival, after this November, December, I think the market is coming back now.
Yes.
Okay, if you see the GST collection, which is the proof whether our economy has come back. If we see in last October 2019 and 2020 GST collections, it has gone up by 10 to 12%. So that's the proof that economy has been recovered. That means the money has been pumped into the market, whether it is the subsidy or it is a loan, whatever it has been given to the market. So it has got into the machinery, generated revenue, it has paid back.
Okay.
So these are the proof that so the money is reaching to the beneficiary. Yes, I can understand that there may be difficulties, in small entrepreneurs, MSME entrepreneurs reaching to the banks or reaching to the government authorities, where the client, where the consultants or the chartered accountant, whoever it is, okay, they will be helping them in speeding up the process.
Correct. Correct. Very true. Very true. See, what happens is many times people talk with some notional understanding without really going to the matters in detail. People who are in business, people who are in real-time operations, they know what is the kind of problem even government faces. It's not that everything is rosy picture for government also, because of the current COVID days, not only India, worldwide I'm speaking. So much struggle after to run a family, lot of challenges there, even to run a family. So running an organization, running a country or a state is not that easy. So one has to really understand in detail. So that's fantastic, Subra.
I think now, if you see the government website, really you can see the dashboard on a real time.
Yes.
Even I say no corporate. Some of the corporates they don't update also. But if you go and see the website of government schemes, because they have got a different schemes, dashboards are there. It's all getting updated on a real-time basis.
Very true. Many people do not even know what are the sites. First of all, government operates like this. I used to get a lot of information from government sites. And as you rightly said, it's a live data being posted every minute in the government side. So it's really transparent.
Yes.
The system is transparent. That's what I could feel. And every area of operations.
They talk in numbers.
Yes, they talk in numbers. Like typically like a corporate organization, they talk numbers. Numbers anyway speak, right? So,
yes.
And then, move on to the MSMEs issues. Let's look at certain issues what normally MSMEs faces. See, every time when I speak to entrepreneur in helping them on many areas of the business as a strategic advisor, the moment we start talking about growth, at current time, of course, growth is a second phase. It's about survival now and stabilizing the business. So we are moving from survival to stabilizing phase. But the moment we start talking about growth, development, and all that, the first question comes always is finance, funding, working capital, all these areas. But all the more is important is strategy, right? More than going in for bank funding or bank finance. You may even get funding also as a third party or private. But what would you do with what you have is a question. Many people don't know how to risk mitigate, how to budget their, the money starts flowing in from the bank or anywhere. So how do you look at in serving them instead of in terms of creating budgets, in terms of risk mitigating it, in terms of putting things in proper place before even they go to banks or anywhere to borrow money, because the money comes, the expenditure is already available. If we know spending money is easy.
Correct.
But how to spend it wisely is what matters most. So how do you look at this perspective?
See, like for any new company or any company, okay, so they need, you said that they need to have a strategy. Okay, in our organization, what we call as a C cube strategy. C for Calcutta. Okay, C cube, not C change. Okay, C cube strategy. So the first C stands for the capacity. Okay, so the moment you invest money in your fixed assets, okay, once you buy the land, build the building, the factory building, everything, and you put your machineries. So you install the machineries, it has to generate about, let's say, 100,000 units per day. So that's the maximum capacity, machine designed capacity. So that's the capacity you have created. You need to have a monitoring those capacity on a monthly basis, quarterly basis, yearly basis. Okay, based on which, so you're determined your market share, what should be your market share, based on which you install the machinery. So what level this machine is being utilized.
Correct.
Okay, this has to be 100% saturated. That's what we call it in the manufacturing terminology. It has to be 100% saturated.
Okay.
So capacity building is what, capacity monitoring is what the first C. Then cash flow.
Okay.
So you utilize the machine, you manufacture the products, you sold to your customer. But how it has been converted into the cash flow.
Correct.
So end of the day, money in the bank is what everybody wants.
Correct.
So the cash flow. So each and every top management, the executives who are part of the Apex team, should be having the cash flow in their hand.
Correct.
The third C is cost reduction.
Okay.
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 As you said, okay, before even you start the business, the expenses budget would have been already prepared by the people. So you must know, okay, expenses is okay today to spend, but it has to be controlled in the long run. Okay, because your customer will be always asking for the cost reduction because he's end customer as a normal buyer. Okay,
Correct.
if you're going to buy the car, if you're going in the market, so you'll be asking immediately what you'll be asking with the dealer, the showroom, what is the discount you give me?
Correct.
Okay, whoever is giving a good discount, I'll go and buy that car.
Correct.
Okay. Subject to all the my technical specifications. Even then, I'll be asking for a discount. So
Correct.
he will then pass on to his manufacturer. Manufacturer will pass on to his tier 1 industries. So if you are a tier 1 industry, so how are you going to pass on that money to the customer? So we'll internally work on cost reduction methodologies.
Okay.
Before even we start spending the money, we need to have the plan how we are going to get the cost down in the long run.
It is a continuous process, right? It is a continuous process.
A continuous process.
The cost is a continuous process. It's not once in blue moon, but every time. So the capacity.
No. You cannot.
So capacity utilization, cash flow, and cost reduction, which denotes a CQ, is what you specialize and you offer to your clients.
Yeah,
that's fantastic, actually. And I mean, this has given us, this has given a lot of views to the, the entrepreneurs who are watching this. I'm sure this is going to add a lot of value in their business. Subra, like we must have more such conversation down the line to throw a lot of lights to our friends in the MSME fraternity, because after all, as you rightly said in the beginning, we are 63 million MSMEs are there in the country, which means 6 crore companies in the country and employed about 11 crore people. And as you rightly said, 30% GDP and 48% on exports. And Nitin Gadkari, our minister for MSME, he also has a vision for MSMEs. He said from 30% to 50% he wants to increase the GDP from MSME. Also wants to grow from 48% exports to 60%. Very lofty goals, but government has a vision for it. I'm sure, and especially he's going to focus more on the village economy. He's aiming about 80,000 crore for the village industries, cottage industries, and all that. So I'm sure exciting times are ahead for India. Despite and in spite of COVID issues and current problems we face. And I'm sure we will make a huge mark with the support of all the MSME entrepreneurs that India will thrive, will achieve whatever it has to achieve, because India is always great. So thank you very much for joining. Yes. Thank you very much for joining this short session. And I think we'll have more session down the line with more interesting topics to share it with our friends in MSME fraternity. Thank you, Subra. Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time. I think we had a nice interaction.
Yeah,
Yeah, hopefully it will benefit to all the viewers. Thank you.
absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much.